Hello, I'm James Preston, a security consultant here at AN Security. In this video demonstration, we're going to have a look at how Ruckus Cloudpath can be used to deliver different forms of guest Wi-Fi service to your users. When looking at the different options available to us, we can typically break guest Wi-Fi services down into two different groups. The first being the traditional services. Here, when the user connects to an SSID, they're typically directed to a captive portal. That captive portal then asks them for some personal details or perhaps asks them to log into a service. And in the back end, the user's MAC address is being used to track their connection. And once they've been authenticated into the network, they're then provided broad access to the internet. However, as the demands and needs of users have changed over time, and in particular with the emergence of MAC address randomization and the issues that that can cause in guest Wi-Fi services, we've started to see the emergence of pre-shared keys being used to authenticate users onto networks and provide them with a secure Wi-Fi experience. We'll have a look at how that can work a little bit later in the presentation. In this example, I'm going to use a voucher code to connect to the internet. Voucher codes can be generated through the Cloudpath web console, or perhaps even by using a custom API integration. For example, if you're a hotel, a voucher code could be generated and emailed to the guest on their arrival. After pasting in the voucher code and clicking continue, a message is sent to the backend Ruckus Smart Zone controller, informing the controller of the MAC address of the connecting client. This MAC address is then used to remove the client from the walled garden. This is an isolated environment that permits access to only a small number of URLs, including the Cloudpath onboarding portal, and then allows broad internet access. This message can then be customized or perhaps the user redirected to a website of your choosing. In this example, after the user connects to the SSID, the captive portal redirects them to this page where they're asked to fill out the form displayed. Cloudpath can be configured to be GDPR compliant, including the automatic deletion of information once it's no longer required. Once the user fills out the form, the same process in the back end happens where the MAC address of the client is sent to the Smart Zone controller, and the client is then permitted to broadly access the internet. In this final example, when the user connects to the ANS wireless network, they're prompted to enter a username and password. Now, this authentication might be linked against your loyalty card system, or perhaps linked against Facebook or another OAuth authentication provider. Once they've entered their username and password and click continue, they're then informed that they have indeed been connected to the internet. Now, this is the standard traditional wireless connection that's been provided to them. They're still on an open wireless network, but they're now given access to the internet after they've authenticated. For those users who don't like the notion of being on an open wireless network, they've also been provided a personal pre-shared key which they can use to connect to the ANS secure wireless network. This pre-shared key could also be used to get other devices which perhaps don't support captive portals, looking at handheld gaming consoles as an example, and get those online as well. The infinite flexibility of Ruckus Cloudpath, in particular when integrating with its various APIs, really does open up a world of possibility. Starting out perhaps with a receptionist being able to push a button, perhaps that button's plugged into a Raspberry Pi, that makes an API call out to the Ruckus Cloudpath service, and it then returns a pre-shared key which can be printed off on a thermal printer for the receptionist to then hand to the guest on arrival. You might like an option where Ruckus Cloudpath will email the user with their Wi-Fi code before they even arrive. Or if you have a large conference arriving, again, we can tap into the API and do bulk generation of voucher codes, which can be printed off and issued to the conference organizer on arrival. If you already have a customer loyalty mobile app, for instance, there are plenty of options here to ensure that before the user even walks through the door, all the information that's required to connect to the wireless network is already on their mobile phone, such that as they come through the door, they're already on the Wi-Fi, they're already using your high-speed network connectivity. Thank you for watching this video. If you have any questions on how this technology might work inside your environment, please get in touch with your AN Security account manager or email us with inquiries@ansecurity.com.